Hello, Stoic community. Today we're diving deep into the trenches of human connection. We're not here to sugarcoat things or dance around the truth. No, we're here to confront one of life's most challenging realities head-on: relationships. The bonds that can lift us to the heights of Olympus or chain us to the depths of Tartarus. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you know when to cut those chains? When is it time to look at a relationship, be it with a friend, a lover, or even family, and say, enough? This isn't about being cold or callous. It's about being wise. It's about having the courage to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. It's about understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others is to let go. Today, we're going to explore 11 signs that it might be time to end a relationship. And we're not pulling these out of thin air. No, we're tapping into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that's guided great men and women for over 2,000 years. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Stoicism, isn't that about suppressing emotions and being cold? Nothing could be further from the truth. Stoicism is about living with virtue and facing challenges with courage and wisdom. It's about making tough decisions not from a place of anger or fear, but from a place of clear-headed rationality. So buckle up. This isn't going to be an easy ride. We're going to challenge some deeply held beliefs. We're going to shine a light on some uncomfortable truths. But I promise you this. If you stick with me and engage with what we're about to discuss, you'll walk away with a clearer understanding of your relationships and yourself. Are you ready to take control of your life? Are you prepared to make decisions that align with your highest values? Are you ready to cultivate relationships that serve you and dare to let go of those that don't? Then let's dive in. These 11 signs will tell you it's time to end a relationship. Let's go. All right, before we dive into the 11 signs, let's set the stage. Why are we turning to Stoic wisdom for guidance on our relationships? It's simple. The Stoics understood something fundamental about human nature, something that's as true today as it was 2,000 years ago. They knew that we humans are emotional creatures. We feel deeply, we love fiercely, and sometimes we hold on to things and people long after we should have let go. Sound familiar? But here's the kicker. The Stoics also knew that we have the power to master our emotions, to make decisions based not just on how we feel, but on what's truly best for us and those around us. And that, my friends, is where the real power lies. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It might be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Ending a relationship, whether it's with a friend, a lover, or even a family member. It's like cutting off a piece of yourself. It hurts. It's messy. But sometimes it's necessary. Think about it like this. You're the captain of your own ship. Every relationship in your life is like a passenger on that ship. Some of these passengers help you navigate and make the journey better, but others, they're dead weight. They're dragging you down, maybe even steering you off course. And that's what we're here to figure out today. We're going to learn how to spot those passengers who might be jeopardizing our journey. We're going to learn when it's time to thank them for their company and help them find their way to shore. But remember this, and it's crucial. We're not here to make rash decisions. We're not here to throw people overboard at the first sign of trouble. No, we are here to learn how to assess our relationships with clarity, wisdom, and yes, compassion, both for others and for ourselves. The Stoics believed in living with virtue and making decisions aligning with our highest values, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to learn how to look at our relationships objectively, recognize patterns that might be holding us back, and make tough decisions with courage and integrity. So, are you ready to take an honest look at the relationships in your life? Are you prepared to face some uncomfortable truths? Good, because that's where real growth begins. That's where we start to build a life filled with meaningful connections, a life lived on our terms. Number 1, stunted personal growth. Listen up, because this is crucial. In the journey of life, you are the protagonist. You're the hero of your own story. And what do all great heroes do? They grow, they evolve, they become better versions of themselves with each challenge they face. Now, here's where it gets tricky. A good relationship, a healthy relationship, should be like rocket fuel for your personal growth. It should challenge, inspire, and push you to new heights. But what happens when, instead of fuel, that relationship feels like an anchor? Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." But let me tell you something. When you're in a relationship that's holding you back, it can feel like you're losing that power. It's like you're stuck in quicksand, unable to move forward. So how do you know if a relationship is stunting your growth? Here are some signs to watch out for. First, do you find yourself constantly compromising your ambitions? Are you putting your dreams on hold because they don't align with your partner's vision or make your friend uncomfortable? Second, do you feel like you're walking on eggshells, afraid to express new ideas or explore new interests because of how the other person might react? And third, and this is a big one, do you feel like you're the same person you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, in a healthy relationship? In a relationship, you should be able to look back and see how much you've grown and how much you've learned. I'm not saying every relationship needs to be a non-stop personal development seminar, but it should provide the space and support for you to grow. If you feel stagnant, like you're shrinking to fit someone else's expectations, that's a red flag you can't ignore. Remember, the Stoics believed in constantly striving to be better and live more virtuously. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." But how can you become what you would be if your relationships hold you back? So ask yourself, is this relationship helping me become the best version of myself, or is it keeping me small? Is it challenging me to grow or forcing me to shrink? If the answer is the latter, then it might be time to make a tough decision. Because here's the truth. Sometimes the most growth-promoting thing you can do is to let go of what's holding you back. Number 2, persistent negative emotions. Now listen closely. We're not talking about the occasional argument or moment of frustration. Those are part of any relationship. No, we're talking about a constant biting feeling of negativity that follows you like a shadow. Imagine waking up every morning with a weight on your chest. Imagine dreading interactions with someone who's supposed to be close to you. Imagine feeling your energy drain away every time you're around this person. That's what we're talking about here. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Powerful words, but let's be honest. When you're caught in a cycle of negative emotions, it can feel impossible to revoke that pain. So how do you know if you're dealing with persistent negative emotions in a relationship? Here are some signs to watch for. First, do you feel a sense of dread or anxiety when you know you're going to see this person? That's your gut trying to tell you something. Second, do you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of triggering an argument or negative reaction? That's not a relationship. That's a minefield. Third, after spending time with this person, do you feel drained, depressed, or angry more often than not? Your emotions are like a compass. Pay attention to where they point. Now, the Stoics weren't about suppressing emotions. They were about understanding them, about not letting them control us. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But when negative emotions become the norm in a relationship, it's no longer about how you react. It's about recognizing a toxic pattern. Here's the hard truth. Life is too short to be in a constant state of negative emotion. You deserve better. You deserve relationships that bring light into your life, not darkness. Relationships that energize you, not drain you. So ask yourself, does this relationship bring more joy or pain into my life? Do I feel better or worse about myself when I'm with this person? If the scales are tipping towards the negative, it might be time to reassess. Remember, ending a relationship doesn't mean you've failed. Sometimes it means you're brave enough to put your well-being first. Sometimes it means you're strong enough to make space in your life for more positive connections. Number 3, manipulation and control. Gentlemen, this is where things get serious. We're talking about a poison that can seep into the very foundation of a relationship, corroding your freedom, your self-esteem, and your sense of self. We're talking about manipulation and control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But what happens when someone else is trying to be the master of you? Manipulation and control can be subtle. It often disguises itself as love, concern, or knowing what's best for you. But make no mistake, it's a cage. A cage that can be so comfortable you don't even realize you're trapped until you try to spread your wings. So how do you spot manipulation and control in a relationship? Here are some red flags to watch for. First, does this person make you feel guilty for having your thoughts, feelings, or desires? That's not love. That's emotional blackmail. Second, do they try to isolate you from friends, family, or other support systems? A person who truly cares about you will want to expand your world, not shrink it. Third, do they use your insecurities against you? Do they make you feel like you're not good, smart, or worthy enough to make your own decisions? That's not support. That's sabotage. The Stoics believed in personal autonomy and the power of the individual to shape their own life. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But when you're caught in a web of manipulation and control, it can feel like you've lost that power, like your strength has been sapped away, replaced by doubt and fear. Listen to me. You are the author of your own life story. No one else gets to write your chapters for you. If someone is trying to control the narrative or manipulate your plot, it's time to take back the pen. This isn't about blame. It's about reclaiming your power, autonomy, and right to be the hero of your journey. So ask yourself, do I feel free to be myself in this relationship? Do I feel supported in my choices or controlled in my actions? If you're feeling caged, remember that you hold the key to your freedom. Recognizing manipulation and control is the first step to breaking free from it. It takes courage to face this truth, but you have that courage within you. You wouldn't be here seeking growth and wisdom if you didn't. Number 4, constant stress and anxiety. Now let's talk about something that can silently erode the foundations of even the strongest individuals. Constant stress and anxiety in a relationship. I'm not talking about the butterflies you feel before a big date or the tension of navigating life's challenges together. I'm talking about a persistent, gnawing feeling that turns your stomach into knots whenever you think about this person or this relationship. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But when your relationship is a source of constant stress and anxiety, that suffering becomes your reality. So how do you know if you're caught in this toxic cycle? Here are some signs to watch for. First, do you constantly walk on eggshells, afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing? That's not a relationship, that's a minefield. Second, do you feel a sense of dread when you see their name pop up on your phone? Your body is trying to tell you something. Listen to it. Third, do you lose sleep, appetite, or focus because you're constantly worried about your relationship? Your mental health is sounding the alarm. The Stoics taught us the importance of tranquility and finding peace within ourselves. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." But how can you find that joy and peace when your relationship is a constant source of turmoil? Here's the hard truth. A healthy relationship should be a refuge from the storms of life, not the source of those storms. It should be a place where you find strength, not where your strength is constantly drained. Now, I'm not saying relationships are always easy. They require work and compromise, and sometimes they bring challenges. But there's a world of difference between facing life's challenges together and feeling like the relationship itself is a never-ending challenge. So ask yourself, does this relationship bring more peace or turmoil into my life? Do I feel stronger with this person or constantly drained? If the answers point to constant stress and anxiety, it might be time to make a tough decision. Remember, the Stoics believed in taking control of our lives and focusing on what we can change. You may not be able to control how another person acts, but you have complete control over how you respond and what you accept in your life. Your peace of mind, mental health, and ability to face the world with strength and courage are not negotiable. They're not things to be sacrificed on the altar of a toxic relationship. If you find yourself constantly stressed, anxious, and drained by a relationship, it might be time to step back. It's time to reevaluate and ask yourself if this is really serving your highest good. Here's the thing, you deserve peace. You deserve relationships that lift you up, not wear you down. You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling strong, centered, and ready to conquer the day, not defeated before you've even begun. It takes courage to face this truth. It takes strength to make tough decisions. But I know you have that courage. I know you have that strength. You wouldn't be here seeking wisdom and growth if you didn't. So take a deep breath, center yourself, and ask yourself, is this relationship bringing me closer to the person I want to be, or is it holding me back? Your future self is watching, waiting to see what you'll choose. Choose wisely. Number 5, lack of mutual respect. Listen up, because this one's crucial. We're talking about the bedrock of any healthy relationship, respect. Not just any respect, but mutual respect, the kind that goes both ways and lifts both people. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." But in a relationship without respect, you might find yourself stooping to levels you never thought you would just to be heard or seen. So how do you spot a lack of respect in a relationship? Here are some red flags. First, does this person constantly belittle your opinions or ideas? That's not disagreement, that's disrespect. Second, do they dismiss your feelings or mock your vulnerabilities? Remember, a person who truly respects you will honor your emotions, even if they don't always understand them. Third, do they treat you differently in private than in public? Respect isn't a show for others. It's a constant. The Stoics believed in living with virtue. Part of that virtue is treating others and ourselves with dignity. Epictetus taught us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But when you're constantly reacting to disrespect, you're not living, you're just surviving. Here's the truth. You deserve respect, not because of what you do, what you have, or who you know, but simply because you exist. You are a human being worthy of dignity and consideration. A relationship without respect is like a house without a foundation. It might look fine on the surface, but won't stand the test of time. It won't weather the storms that life inevitably brings. So ask yourself, Do I feel respected in this relationship? Do I respect this person in return? If the answer to either is no, it's time for a serious re-evaluation. Remember, demanding respect isn't selfish. It's not asking for too much. It's simply acknowledging your worth and expecting others to do the same. You have the power to choose relationships that honor your dignity and recognize your worth. Don't settle for anything less. Ultimately, you accept the respect you teach others to give you. Choose wisely, my friends. Your future self will thank you. Number 6. Living in illusion. It's time to pull back the curtain and face reality head-on. We're talking about living in illusion, a state where we see our relationships not as they are, but as we wish they were. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." But what happens when our judgments are clouded by illusion, when we're seeing what we want to see rather than what's really there? Here's the harsh truth. A relationship built on illusion is like a castle made of sand. It might look impressive from a distance, but it crumbles at the slightest touch of reality. So how do you know if you're living in illusion? Here are some signs to watch for. First, do you find yourself constantly making excuses for your partner's behavior? They didn't mean it. They'll change. It's just a phase. These might be comforting thoughts, but they're often mirages in the desert of denial. Second, are you holding on to the memory of how things used to be rather than facing how they are now? The past can be beautiful, but it's a terrible place to live. Third, do you have an idealized version of your partner that doesn't match their actions? Remember, love isn't blind. It sees clearly and loves anyway. The Stoics were all about seeing things as they truly are. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. But to revoke that estimate, we first need to recognize it. Here's the thing. Facing reality isn't always comfortable. It can be downright painful. But it's also the first step toward true freedom and genuine happiness. Living in illusion might feel safer in the short term, but in the long run, it's a prison. It keeps you trapped in a relationship that exists only in your mind, preventing you from improving your current situation or finding something better. So ask yourself, am I seeing this relationship as it truly is or as I wish it to be? Am I facing reality or hiding from it? Remember, true strength isn't about maintaining comforting illusions. It's about having the courage to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. You have that courage within you. You wouldn't be here seeking wisdom and growth if you didn't. So see your relationship for what it truly is, because only when we see clearly can we make wise decisions. Only when we face reality can we truly grow. Choose truth over comfort. Choose reality over illusion. Your future self, your authentic self, is counting on you. Number 7. Compromising core values. All right, let's talk about something fundamental, your core values. These aren't just fancy words you throw around. They're the compass that guides your life. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." But what happens when a relationship pushes you to be someone you're not? Here's the deal. A relationship that constantly asks you to compromise your core values isn't just unhealthy, it's soul-crushing. So how do you know if you're compromising your values? Look out for these signs. First, do you find yourself doing things you swore you never would? We're not talking about trying new foods here, but about crossing lines you set for yourself. Second, do you feel ashamed of your actions when you're with this person? The shame is your integrity crying out. Third, have you stopped standing up for the things you believe in to keep the peace? Remember, peace at the cost of your principles is too expensive. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But you're giving away that power. When you're constantly compromising your values, here's the truth. Your values aren't negotiable. They're not something to be traded away for the sake of a relationship. They are the very essence of who you are. A healthy relationship should bring out your best, not demand the worst. It should challenge you to grow, not shrink. So ask yourself, does this relationship align with my values, or am I constantly compromising who I am? Remember, staying true to your values isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's how you maintain your integrity, your self-respect, and ultimately, your happiness. You have the strength to stand by your principles. Dare to be true to yourself. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise, no matter how important they seem. Choose authenticity. Choose integrity. Choose to be unapologetically you. Number 8. Lack of reciprocity. All right, let's talk balance. Not the Zen yoga pose kind of balance, but the give and take that's crucial in any healthy relationship. The Stoics understood this. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." But what happens when that kindness only flows one way? A relationship without reciprocity is like trying to clap with one hand. It just doesn't work. So how do you spot this imbalance? Here are some signs. First, do you feel like you're always the one reaching out, making plans, or keeping the connection alive? That's not a relationship. That's a one-person band. Second, is your partner mysteriously absent when you're going through tough times, but when they need support, you're expected to drop everything? Third, do you find yourself constantly making excuses for why you're giving so much more than you're receiving? They're just busy, or they show love differently. These might be true, but they might also be signs you're in a one-sided relationship. Epictetus taught us, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." But it's hard to rejoice when you're constantly giving without receiving. Here's the truth. Reciprocity isn't about keeping score. It's about both people actively contributing to the relationship's growth and happiness. A healthy relationship should feel balanced. It should be a dance where both partners take turns leading and following. It's not a tug of war where one person is doing all the pulling. So ask yourself, am I giving much more than I receive in this relationship? Do I feel valued and appreciated, or taken for granted? Remember, you deserve a relationship where your efforts are matched, your love is reciprocated, and your presence is valued just as much as you value theirs. You're not asking for too much. You're not being selfish. You're simply expecting the basic foundation of any healthy relationship. Number 9. Abuse in any form. Listen closely, because this one is non-negotiable. We're talking about abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, or psychological. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be like him who performed the injury." But when it comes to abuse, the best action is to remove yourself entirely. Let's be crystal clear. There is no justification for abuse. None. Zero. Nada. Here are some red flags to watch for. First, does your partner use physical force against you, even if they claim it's not that bad or just this once? That's not love, that's assault. Second, do they constantly belittle, mock, or make you feel worthless? Emotional abuse can leave scars deeper than any physical wound. Third, do they control your actions, isolate you from friends and family, or manipulate you through fear or guilt? That's not protection, that's prison. Epictetus taught us, no man is free who is not master of himself. But in an abusive relationship, your abuser is trying to be the master of you. Here's the unvarnished truth. You deserve safety. You deserve respect. You deserve love that doesn't hurt. An abusive relationship isn't just unhealthy, it's dangerous. It's not something to work on or push through, it's something to escape. So ask yourself, do I feel safe, respected, and valued in this relationship? Or am I constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of the next outburst or attack? Remember, leaving an abusive relationship takes immense courage, but you have that strength within you. You wouldn't be here seeking wisdom and growth if you didn't prioritize your safety. Reach out to trusted friends, family, or professional services for help. You don't have to face this alone. You have the power to choose a life free from abuse. You have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Choose safety. Choose self-respect. Choose a life where love doesn't hurt. Because you, my friend, are worthy of nothing less. Number 10. Failed communication. All right, let's talk about the lifeblood of any relationship, communication. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But what happens when neither person is truly listening? Failed communication is about more than just arguments. It's about a fundamental breakdown in understanding and connection. Here are some signs to watch for. First, do your conversations frequently turn into arguments, even over small things? That's not dialogue. That's verbal warfare. Second, are you constantly misunderstood or unable to understand your partner's point of view? It's like you're speaking different languages. Third, have you stopped sharing your thoughts and feelings because it seems pointless? Silence might keep the peace, but it's the peace of a graveyard for your relationship. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." However, truth and authenticity often become casualties in a relationship due to failed communication. Here's the reality. Communication is more than just talking. It's about connecting, understanding, and growing together. When communication fails, the relationship starts to wither. A healthy relationship should be a safe space for open, honest dialogue. It should be where you feel most understood, not most alone. Misunderstood, so ask yourself, can I express myself freely in this relationship? Do I feel heard and understood? Can we navigate disagreements without them turning into disasters? Remember, good communication is a skill. It can be learned and improved, but it requires effort from both parties. If you're the only one trying, you're not in a dialogue, but a monologue. You deserve a relationship where your voice is heard, your thoughts are valued, and your feelings are respected. Don't settle for less. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose understanding over assumption. Choose connection over isolation. Because in the end, a relationship is only as strong as its communication.